Good morning, Debbie here, and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today I want to share with you my cast iron story and how I take care of it. I am not a perfectionist. I am not a homemaker. I am not an expert, all of this stuff, but my cast iron works for me. I like old things. I like modern things. I like repurposed things. This is my storage, and it is an old record stand, and it is wonderful. First of all, the height is just right for this 5-foot body. And then all my pans slide in and out, easy access. And I have an old car mat underneath in case the oils on them that I use for finishing, seasoning them, slips down. Who knows? It's the basics. Now I want to show you how I generally use my cast iron. So here is the most used cast iron pan that I have. It looks pretty good, right? So my system for caring for them, it works. Okay. So before I use my pan, before I cook with it, if I'm going to bake in it, I put lard all over this. If I'm going to cook in it, I'll put lard in the bottom. My options are lard, bacon grease, butter, and olive oil. Butter's really expensive, so what I'm baking has to be really delicate for me to use that. But primarily it's lard because it's cheap and it's kind of reminiscent to ancestry. So that's important to me. It's a psychological thing. Okay, so generally I just put a dollop, hard to do here with one hand, dollop of lard in the bottom of the pan. And if we're going to cook onions or potatoes or whatever, or meat, that's where I start. And I just heat that up and run that around. If I'm going to bake with it, I need to cover this all to give it an extra layer, and so I do this. Okay, so that's ready for baking, cooking, frying, whatever. All right, so then that's what I do. The next part is cleaning after I bake. Now, even though this makes it non-stick-ish, I'm not the greatest cook or housekeeper. Stuff sticks. Or I leave it sitting there too long, stuff sticks, and I have to clean it off. Sometimes, I have to admit, there's even times where it sits overnight with water in it, and then the next day I can clean it all up. Scrub it down gently. I don't use anything harsh with it because I really don't want to be pulling off more layers of that oil, that lard layers that I've put on there. And then I'm going to show you what I do. Okay. That just felt wrong, wiping off that lard that I put on there, and rather than heating it up and melting it in, but gotta do what I gotta do. Okay, so it's been washed, wiped down. I'm gonna dry it, usually with a paper towel. Okay, so that looks dry. It's not dry because there are pores there. So I'm going to turn on the heat and heat this up because I want this pan dry. Okay, so now that, oh yeah, it's steaming there. We're gonna put a little bit of olive oil on it now. Shut that off. And we're just gonna spread this around with gonna gain up the sides. Give me another coating. And I'll let that heat up. We'll let that sit. Okay, so now I'm just going to let this sit here, and it'll probably sit here most of the day. So why am I using olive oil this time rather than lard? A psychological thing. We have four-legged critters that come into this old house, especially in the winter. Knock on wood. None yet this year. And I think that lard on that pan would be more attracting than olive oil. So for sitting and storing, I use olive oil. That's the way it is. Anyway, system works. Okay, so now I'm just going to let this sit here, you know, for the morning till it gets cool. Wipe it down when it is cool again with a little bit of paper towel to get any excess off, and then I store it. And it works. Whether it's the right way, the best way, it works for me. There we go. My cast iron.